Alright everybody, just picked up this little Agility 50. She's definitely a hurting little unit. Pretty new bike. The guy that owns it had a big bore kit installed in it, and it definitely sounds like she's cranking pretty hard. Pulled off the belt cover, and yeah, I mean the belt's intact. It's got a nice Gates belt in it. You can rotate the thing over by hand all the way. It feels like it's binding in a certain spot, so very curious to see what's going on with this little girl. Probably gonna get it disassembled this afternoon and take a look, see what we need for parts. Till then, I got a little bit of a drive home. All right, well, let's dig into this thing. Like I said, very curious. This seat out of here, guy removed the bolts for me. It's always nice. I'm gonna take off this front cover as well. A couple of Phillips heads down the bottom. From here, you can just give it a tug, come right off. Big fan of putting screws back where they're supposed to be. Takes an extra second, but takes a few minutes to find them if they drop on the ground. So, next thing, we're going to want to take the valve cover off. It's going to have 4 8mm socket cap screws. One's there, next one's here, and there's 2 down on the bottom. Pop that cover off, set it aside somewhere safe. Obviously put the screws somewhere safe because you can't put them back in. And then you want to rotate the motor over to top dead center. See that? That just moved up on the top. That's the rocker for the intake right there. You want to rotate the motor until that opens and then closes back. Then you're at top dead center. Whoever's in here last really did a number on this coil wire. That's for sure. Pinch it between the seat. I want to put that back where it's supposed to be later on, but for now, let's just tuck it up out of the way. Next thing that we're going to want to get after is a couple of screws here for the plastic shroud that allows air to pass from the fan over the cylinder. Next, before we take all the screws out of the plastic shroud, let's get this carb off of here. 2 10mm nuts on 2 studs. I'm going to remove that rubber elbow and the carb and everything kind of with it. We're not taking it completely out of the bike, just getting it out of the way so we can get the cylinder head off and ultimately the cylinder and see why it's cranking so oddly. Not going to put them back, so put them in the container for now. One thing to watch when you pull this out of here, obviously get your lines unclipped here. But when you pull it out of here, you're going to see that there is no gasket in the groove on the carb. It normally gets stuck to the intake. So you're going to want to take that off, put that somewhere safe. The bike will fire up without it, but it's not going to idle very well. Next thing you're going to want to do is take the plastic shroud off the fan cover as well as the exhaust. We're going to be disassembling the top end here, so we got to get the exhaust off the head to remove it. And this is the noise that I'm hearing when you crank the bike. It definitely sounds like something going on with the top end, maybe the crank to me, but only time's going to tell. Let's get this exhaust off. Get a few plastic shrouds to rip off there, top and bottom, just for the cooling system. Air passes through there and then over the fins. Bottom one's a little more tricky. If you look closely, that little piece of orange down there is a fan that had exploded on the customer apparently. A lot of shrapnel still down in there, and he swapped back on the stock one. You take this cam chain tensioner off. You want to loosen up that 10mm bolt and then take out the two 8mm on the side. We'll wait to take it completely out for now and start on the 10mm head socket cap nuts. Although I just want to loosen them kind of evenly so you don't warp anything. There is going to be a washer underneath all of those nuts, so don't forget those. You can give the rocker arm assembly a little tap and then it'll kind of break free and you can pull it off there. One thing you want to remember is these little dowel pins. There's two at each layer, rockers, then after the head, and then the cylinder to the base. Take them out, just don't lose them. Now let's take the cam chain tensioner all the way out. Give it a little tap as well, and hopefully that gasket doesn't break on you so you can reuse it, because no top end kits come with that gasket. The cam can come out of there, just slip the chain right off of there. You've got a couple of 8mm really long bolts on the side of the cylinder that you want to crack loose and then spin out of there. Two of them, just take them all the way out. From there you can slip off the cylinder head. Again, pay special attention to the dowel pins. They not only are there for locating the gaskets and the head to the cylinder, but oil is passing through there. So if they're missing, it can cause low oil pressure. Looky there, there's one missing. Whoever assembled this big bore kit forgot that. Luckily it's on the return side. It hasn't been ran very long. That head gasket is destroyed. You want to take out your bottom can chain guide. And from there you can slip the cylinder off. Oh boy. Okay, the piston looks pretty good. Cylinder has no damage on it. And I'm thinking I just took apart this entire top end. It's not truly our problem, although we do have a bad head gasket as well as a missing dowel pin, so it wasn't completely in vain. But that noise is still there. And I think I should have really started with the easiest thing first. Hearing a noise behind the fan. The fan has been reinstalled by the customer after a high performance one fell off. And yep, the bolts are too long, at least two of them. So they're scraping on the stator. If you look through the bigger holes as I pass it through, you can see where it's hitting. So bike needs a stator, a head gasket, and a dowel pin, and she'll be a runner again. But we're gonna have to order some parts. If you like this video, what are you doing? Please like it, share it, and tell your friends. Hopefully this bike will be back on the road soon.